Welcome to Trisho Day Creations. So I got a phone call from my neighbour next door who asked do I still want the furniture that I had stored in her old woolshed over 10 years ago. So it's been sitting there for 10 years. I'd forgotten all about it, so I raced over, had a look and said yes, I definitely still want it. Picked it up and brought it home. So there was a couple of broken knobs, and of course the birds had a field day with it as well. So we just needed a really good clean and replacing of the knobs. And one of the drawers was a little bit stiff as well, a bit jammed up. So I had to look at that and repair that as well. So all I use to wash my furniture is warm soapy water. I don't use harsh chemicals or anything. Just warm soapy water. Give it a really good scrub. Change your water if you need to and do it again. And then right at the end, I just rinse it off with clean, fresh water and dry it. So as I was washing it, I noticed that there was some borer holes or woodworm holes, a lot of people call those. So I needed to treat the whole thing. I remember years ago I'd already treated it. So whether they were old ones or new ones, I wasn't sure. So to be safe, I treated the whole set. It came with a little nozzle that you could squirt in the little holes. I started doing that. It just ended up saturating the whole thing with borer kill, and then just set it out in the sun for a few hours. So next step, take off the hardware. They had these funny little caps on the back. I'd never seen those before. The drawers were already numbered, so I didn't need to worry about that. So I went ahead, took off all the hardware. They're pretty little knobs, but I won't be using them, but I will save them. And you can see this is a drawer that was a bit stiff. It just needed to be repaired. The legs on the bottom were in really good nick. I decided I'll keep those. I won't replace those. If I put new ones on there, they probably wouldn't suit. So yeah, I went ahead and just glued the drawer back down into the slot where it had come out and glued the back in. And used these really good clamps that my husband bought me as a gift. Love them, they're really good. So yeah, a bit of wood PVO in the back, PVA glue, in the back, and just there was one little nail sticking out, so I just hammered that back in. Moved my clamps around so I'd get it just right and left them there overnight. The drawers are solid wood. They've got the dovetail joinery on them. And yeah, as I say, just keep all your knobs and put them away for another project. Then I sanded all the drawers down. This actually didn't take that long. It came off pretty easily. And then I just followed on with a finer grit sandpaper, a 200 grit. Next day I did the other side of the drawer because I only had 2 clamps, and when I was having another little sand, that's when I noticed water. It's not a watermark, it's like a bleach mark on the bottom set of drawers, but that's fine. I'm going to be putting a transfer decor over that anyway. Next step, scuff sand the rest of the furniture ready for painting. This will help the paint adhere a lot easier. Wipe down all your dust with the broom and then with a damp cloth to get rid of any dust that's left behind. So I shot into town to Bunnings to go get some wood filler for all those little holes, and I took the drawer with me actually so I could match it up. So the 2 closest was pine and chipboard. In hindsight, I should have got something a little bit darker because you can see where I've filled in the holes a little bit. So here's their selection. I really like this set here, but there's only 6 in a packet. But yeah, I was quite pleased with their selection. It's the first time I've had a really good look in Bunnings at their hardware. And then I found these value packs down the bottom here. There's 10 in the pack. I need 8. So that ended up being quite cheap, well, a lot cheaper than buying a 6-pack or individually buying them. And these are the ones I chose. They were similar to the ones I liked, and they were black. So I grabbed those for $39.49. That works out $4 a knob instead of $5 or $6 a knob. Went home and filled in all those little wormholes. There was only a few on the outside of the furniture. The rest were on the inside, on the framing. And then I sanded it down and used my wipe-on polyurethane varnish. And that looks lovely. As soon as you put that on, that grain really comes through. And I gave that 2 coats. So every drawer got 2 coats of wipe-on polyurethane varnish. Leave them there to dry. And they're all ready. There is the little mark you can see, the white mark, but as I said, not a problem. Next stop is to undercoat the rest of the drawer, and I use this Prep Form 1. It does have a stain blocker in there, but I can't say it was very good. I had to end up doing quite a few coats. In hindsight, I should have sprayed it with shellac. So I just line my trays so I don't have to clean them up. And I put my roller in a Ziploc bag, and that just keeps it nice and fresh. And I've kept them in Ziploc bags for 2 or 3 days, and it's fine. It's just get it out and away you go again. Saves you having to wash every time. Decided to use some frog tape around the edges so I didn't get my green paint that I'm using inside the furniture. Love this stuff. It's great. But I did notice after that undercoat was on there and the tape, there's a bit of a dent there. So I went ahead and filled that with some wood putty as well. Waited to dry, sanded off, and give it another coat of paint. So close up here, I don't know if you can see that stain is coming through. It's bleeding through the undercoat. So yeah, I ended up needing 3 or 4 coats, and I sanded in between just to get rid of the roller marks. Just really light. So these are my colour choices. I've got 3 greens there and a brown. So I decided I would just use the back of the furniture to use my test pots there and see what colour I was going to go with. I knew what I wanted in my mind, but trying to find that colour, I just couldn't find it. So I just grabbed 3 different greens and also a brown, thinking maybe the brown would look good with the Decor transfer because it had brown twigs in it. But yeah, this light green that's coming on now I didn't like. The Kinner brown, as soon as I put that on there, I realised no, it was awful. It was like real muddy, dirty brown, and I did not like it at all. Last one, Gondwara, I think it is called. I quite like this green, but it's just a little bit too dark. I was really torn between this one and the first one. Yeah, I asked family members and friends, hey, which one should I use? Which one should I use? And they all said the first one, the first paint that I used on the back there. And I was, drawn to that one as well. Let me know in the comments, what would you have picked? Any of those colours? Or would you have done something completely different? So I put the drawers next to it, put the Decor transfer next to it, just so, that can help sometimes. You decide. I really had to go with the drawers as well. So maybe I should have done that one on the left. The green, the dark green. Or not. Woody, you just stay here with me. Come on. You stay here with me. Hey? Hey? You want a treat? That make you feel better? Hmm? Hmm? Here you go. You get dog hairs on my paint, eh? So this is what I ended up going with. I did end up going with the first one. It's called Smoky Green. So give that a really good stir, and it's quite thick, like really thick paint. At this stage, I should have poured some out into a container and I should have thinned it down with a bit of water. Rookie mistake. But I didn't. I just went ahead with the paint as it was, and I used my chalk paint brush. I did dampen the brush with water and went ahead and used it. It did leave paintbrush marks on that, didn't self level at all because of course it was too thick for that. I just fast forward this for you, you don't want to watch this for the next 10 minutes of painting. At this stage I'm still unsure about this colour, I can't believe it. I went and brought the colour, the paint, got it, got it tinted, and so next coat I decided, water it down Trish, do it properly, and I just keep adding little bits of water until I got the consistency that I liked. And I also changed my brush. I went to my trusty brush that I always like to use. It's the blue one on the right that you can see there. It's nice fine bristles on it, and see that's quite runny now. So I thought I'd probably end up doing 3 coats. It's a lot easier to put on. Nice long strokes. Happy with that. It looks lighter as you're putting it on there. It's only because it's wet. It dried a little bit darker than that. And I just sanded in between the coats. Make sure there was no brush marks there. Just get a nice smoother finish if you do that. You don't have to press hard. You just use a very light sandpaper. So I had the test pot of that dark green. I decided I'm going to mix that with my smoky green, just to bring it a little bit darker and a little bit greener. So pop that in there, add a bit of water, give that a good stir, and went ahead and painted it again. Instantly I knew I liked this colour a lot better. So I'm feeling a bit happier now that I'm getting the green that I want. Watching this you probably think, I can't tell a difference, it looks the same to me, but it is a little bit darker, a bit greener. Funny, in this picture here it looks actually bluish grey, but it's not, it's my lighting, and I had to use the garage to do my painting because it was very windy outside. And the lighting wasn't that great, so apologies for that. The wood looks orange there too, and I assure you it's not orange. So let's do the transfers. So I thought I'd lay the furniture on its back. I thought it might be easier to do the transfer that way. I don't know why I thought that. It wasn't any easier. It's not a hard job anyway, so you can just do it with your furniture facing the way it's going to face anyway. So I cut out all the individual flowers, patterns, so I could move it around and know which flower is going to go where. Just separate them all. So yeah, really hard to know where to put them. But I did know that there was one that I wanted to start with in the corner, and that's this one. So I just started there and then just added as I went. I knew I wasn't going to use all the transfers, so if you've stuck with me with the video so far, you'll see, if you go right to the end, you'll see what I did with the rest of the transfers that I didn't use on the set of drawers. Just go ahead and cut along the edge there in between the drawer and the frame, and cut off any excess that's going to get in your way. If you find that it's sticking, it's not coming away from the backing, and just put it back down and just rub it again. Just keep going over and over and over again until it comes away easily. And I'm liking this a lot now. So this is the first time I've actually used a transfer, and it is pretty simple. So give it a go. Don't be hesitant. If you want to have a go, do it. It's great. You can jazz up furniture, you can jazz up all sorts of things. And then just rub your finger along the edges, because there is a little bit of a halo around the edge of the transfer. And this is called burnishing. And just make sure if you can feel any bubbles underneath, give it a good press and get rid of those bubbles out of there. Just give it a really good rub all over with your hand, or you can use a little clean rag as well. So we're just about finished, just putting the last knob on. And there we have it. Last step, of course, you want to either put a varnish or a wax over your furniture after using a chalk paint. I quite like using the wax, so I just wax the whole thing and the transfers as well. It's fine to put wax on those. As long as you've started with a very clean base before you put transfers on, they won't come off. And also decided I would do inside all the drawers to freshen it up. So there's the before, a reminder of what it looked like. And this is her after in my spare room. Let me know in the comments what you think. And the leftover transfers, I decorated a cheese board. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to see more creations.